what you need tonight. A little something to whet your appetite, and it's gonna make you feel alright. Sweet Gravy and Carmen Kirk, check them out as they go to work. Congratulations on your new podcast. Now open up a can of whoop ass and blast, blast, blast. This is Angelo, and I hope you like this show. Wow, yeah.
Ooh, Carmen, welcome back to another episode of Sweet Gravy.
Hey.
We are doing this in the morning. We haven't done a morning episode in a long time.
That's true. This is the first morning that we've had off together to just lay down and hang out and not be rushing off somewhere. So
Going
that's
off
really
somewhere,
nice.
doing whatever we're doing.
Yeah. It's today is Veterans Day. We're actually taping this on Veterans Day.
Uh-huh.
And Kirk has the day off from work,
Right.
which he shouldn't 'cause
I shouldn't get the day off?
Why, if you're not a veteran, you get the day off? Why are you getting to celebrate Veterans Day?
My company, they do an either-or holiday, so we can either take this day off or Indigenous Peoples Day.
Oh, that's not your day either.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my, that's the same thing as like when you hear about you're talking to some friends and like they go to a school that's predominantly white,
right,
and you go to one of the neighborhood schools and they're like, oh, we got Martin Luther King Day off and we don't. What the
Yeah.
like, what is happening?
Right.
How did we not get to that? Maybe they're like, y'all dumb, y'all need that day in school.
Yeah, you gotta stay in
You
there.
guys gotta stay in there.
So yes, it is Veterans Day today, and also today, Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy definitive edition comes out.
Oh yeah.
That's Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. They're being released in a pack. The graphics have been updated. The characters actually have fingers.
Mm-hmm.
When the game first came out, people talked with their fingers all attached.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they have fingers, and a lot of people wondering, Carmen. They're like, hey, get the old memories of that Grand Theft Auto whenever it came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's such a fun times.
It
We
is. I
did play into the Grand Theft Autos.
remember having it in a household when we were younger, and I remember because Tony had video games growing up. I don't think he plays really once in a blue moon now, but he used to play when he was younger. And Tony is 12 years older than Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
So when Taiwan was younger, Taiwan would be back there. He's playing Grand Theft Auto and these video games. And my mom happened to look because she didn't really know what she had bought.
Right.
And she think it was a card game.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It is a card game.
I know, but she didn't know what was all involved in it. And she's watching it and she's looking at Taiwan pick hookers up. And she's like, what the? You can't play this game no more.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would just sneak and play it.
Right.
And he was so good at it.
Mm-hmm.
he would literally stay up all night sneaking, playing Grand Theft Auto. And I think that was I think he was playing the San Andreas or maybe the Vice City one. I'm not sure.
Right. How old is he compared to us?
He is 7 years younger than me, so he's 25 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He turned 25 in July. Yep.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was. Yeah, maybe one of the PlayStation 2s. The PlayStation 2 games, right?
We never had Xboxes.
Right.
We always had PlayStation.
So, that old PlayStation 2 trilogy. I'm excited. But I don't know if I'm actually gonna play it, Carmen. I don't know if I'm gonna
you
get
gotta finish the Hot Wheels game first.
Hot Wheels Unleashed.
That game stresses me out.
Why?
Because you're like, press the stop button, press the brake, and so you could turn better. I'm like, I gotta figure out where all the buttons are.
Well, you gotta drift, right? Well,
Right.
it's pretty easy. One triggers gas, one triggers brake, and then one triggers your boost. It's only 3 buttons you need to know.
And then you gotta
And then
steer.
left, right. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's more than 3
That's
buttons.
5 buttons. That's 5 buttons, but
Yeah.
there's 20 buttons on the controller.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's a lot going on. And then when you're in the heat of it and you go to press the brake and you didn't press the right button, I don't know. I'm not a video game person, so
Right.
It stresses me out more than anything.
I'm just about done with it though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I almost completed the map.
Oh, check you out.
That game, they it's a Hot Wheels game. So one of the fun things about Hot Wheels is collecting the cars, the different cars and stuff. And part of the game is you get these blind boxes and you open it up and you're like, oh, I got a new car, and then you look at the stats and there's only like really like 5 cars that are like actually like good.
Yeah.
The rest of them just kind of suck. But people have found that whenever they play online, if they just go to the lobby, they'll get put into a race with other people, and then people will race the race, and at the end of the race, the race is over, and then they make money, right? So they're making game money. Some people are just turning on the console, plugging in the controller, and just letting it play while they're doing whatever, because you don't have to win the race to make money. So people are just banking these coins after all of these multiplayer races.
Yeah.
Just to make money and then get all the collection of Hot Wheels cars. And people don't like that.
Well, little kids are doing it.
Right? No,
It's Hot Wheels. I would assume there's a large, younger population that's probably figured out that they can do that, and they running it up. They like, I'm gonna get all the cars.
I'm gonna get all the cars. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
that's interesting. It's funny because I was listening to the Breakfast Club today on the not on the radio, on my phone, and this question came up. They were saying pretty much and it's Charlemagne talking. He's like, if the speed limit is 80, why does a car need to go 156 miles? Because I think something happened where like a football player or something killed a woman because he was going too fast,
Right.
or some story like that. And he's like, if the speed limits most places are like 80, so why does a car need to go 156 or 160 miles per hour? And he's like, I don't understand why they make cars like that, or why they make like machine guns, and then people are able to like get a hold to them. He's like, I just don't understand why like cars like that are for public consumption,
Right.
instead of like maybe NASCAR. That's understandable, but not for like the public. And DJ Envy, he's like, well, you can actually rent out space on the track if you have cars like that to drive your own car around the track. He was like, yeah, but most people driving it on the street,
Right.
going that fast, like. And so Angela Yee, she's like, I'll get the facts. So she get the facts. She said that the cars, the power is like they have to go that high for the engine to power a certain way, I guess, for like 0 to 60 seconds or whatever power you get from the engine. They have to go that fast. And he's like, I just don't get it. He's like, he just wasn't like, he wouldn't take the. And she's like, I'm giving you the facts as to why they do it.
What he's saying is that cars have to be capable to reach a certain point, but there's so many you can like, people can change out the computers in the cars, the chips and stuff, to give them a different speed output, but there are limiters and stuff that you can put on there, but people are going to get around it either way.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. DJ Envy was saying that his son has a Corvette and there's a limiter on there, so he cannot go that fast.
Right.
But it's funny because she's giving him the facts, and he's just like so tied into his opinion. Like, I don't get why cars would go that fast. And she's like, I'm telling you why. This is why they make cars that fast. This is the exact reason. And he's like, I just don't get it. She's like, all right, let's move on to the next subject, because apparently he don't get it.
Right. It's funny.
Yeah, it's always an interesting conversation because you got the boys club and then one girl, and she has to fight her way into the conversation most of the time.
Right.
Which she do a good job of squeezing her way in there, but still,
she gets in there, and the funny thing, Angela Yee. So the Breakfast Club is Charlemagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee, right? And I guess Angela Yee started it on the radio like through like a Eminem business or something. Like he was through him she got into like radio.
I'm not sure. She's been in it for a long time, but maybe that was her bigger break.
Right.
But she started interning when she was like 16.
Right. And then Charlemagne came out of South Carolina.
Charlemagne came out of everywhere. He got fired.
No,
so many goddamn times.
where he like started.
He started,
it was like in the country of like
South Carolina. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and then
And he was good for South Carolina because they ain't never heard no shit like that before on the radio.
Yeah.
It's like,
So-
what? This guy's just saying whatever he wants? And they had never, in that smaller town that he's from, Moncks Corner, they never heard nothing like that on their radio station. So he became popular there. And he got opportunities because of it.
Right. So they kind of he's the type of guy that's going to voice opinions, and she's more like, well, she's just kind of, for her, it seems like it's a job, but Charlemagne kind of uses it as a platform to kind of push,
vent and
to
talk.
vent and say the things that he wants. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it always was. Even when back in the day, oh my God, Kirk, I don't know if you've ever watched like the lost tapes of like Charlemagne and Wendy Williams and the interviews that they would do. Oh my God, the interviews that, now Wendy Williams, she a mess, and then Charlemagne a mess too, and he was her protege. Together, they literally would destroy people's lives and career, and they would attack people so fucking bad on the radio, and it was like I never seen anything like that before. Especially Wendy, like she did an interview with Whitney Houston, and she like, but you do smoke crack, right? And she like, and you smoke crack too, Wendy, don't you? Like, Whitney Houston was not having their shit. Like some people would fight back, and like Whitney Houston, they couldn't really get her. She was like, and I know you too, Wendy, because you be at the same people I buy from. Like she was like, we gonna talk about my problem. She was like, yeah, I've had a problem. I'm vocal about that, but you seem to hide it. And then I don't know, it's just a whole thing. But Whitney Houston, she attacked him back. She's like, y'all not gonna talk about me and my man like that.
How
It's
dare
just
you?
funny. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely interesting. So the right now the biggest story in the news that everyone's talking about, the whole Astro World. I know you haven't heard. Have you heard much about it?
No,
You've heard little clips and stuff.
you brought it up yesterday, and that's all.
You
I've
haven't heard? How haven't you heard this? And it's everywhere.
Carmen, because
Where you at?
it's
Under a
not,
rock?
It's not in my purview.
It's on Google.
Okay.
You have Google.
That's fine.
Okay, so Astro World is this festival that Travis Scott, which is Kylie Jenner, baby's father, boyfriend right now, and he does this large festival every year. And I didn't realize that he was as big as he is. I guess I'm not a person who goes to music festivals. It's a different thing to hear artists on the radio than to go to a music festival where they packed out 50,000 people. It's like they way bigger than you actually even knew they were. Even going to a Wing concert and you see it packed like that and how fast the tickets sell out, other people don't know how big they are unless you actually experience that fan base. So it was interesting to see that. And they said it was 50,000 people there, but some reports say it was probably up to 70,000 people. And pretty much it was just a wild festival. It was a mosh pit. People were all over the place, and security couldn't control the situation. So 8 people ended up dying. They got trampled. It was little kids there too. And that's a whole nother topic, because why is your small child at a rap festival?
Right.
A 10-year-old, you know what I mean? Like why are they there? Like dad wanted to go out. So I guess I bring the kid with me.
Right.
And then you get your kid killed at a festival. Like it's crazy. But yeah, so I guess the question is, who would be at fault for this large mishap? Would it be the artist's fault? I think that's what everybody's going back and forth on. Like, whose fault is it that this tragedy happened?
Right.
Is it Travis Scott's fault because it's technically his festival, but then security and logistics are supposed to handle that, right? So it's just but I feel like he's gonna get because right now they're trying to cancel him, they're dragging him.
Well,
through
you
the
want
mud.
to. He's a face, right?
Right.
Like that's the. He's a face, but there's so many working parts behind him, right? There should be the venue of where the festival was,
Right. And there's their own personal security of who gets in and how it's constructed.
right? And then, there should be whoever designed the policies of how they were going to do it,
Right.
all that stuff. It should have been. I remember I went to Festival Supreme. There. I think there were only 3 of them, but it was a comedy music festival that Tenacious D put together, and I went to go see Tenacious D, but mainly I went to go see Garfunkel and Oates.
Those 2 bitches.
Yeah, those 2 lovely ladies.
They weird, Kirk. They weird.
Well, it was on the Santa Monica Pier, right? And they didn't release the lineup until like an hour before the festival started. And they had a line like wrapped down the pier, like because there's a little like you can drive down the pier and it's like a hill, and then it goes around this block, around like this aquarium, all the oh man, I had to walk to the back of this line, and then I was in this line for like 2 hours just to get in, and
is it worth it?
I'm not even halfway.
Wait 2 hours?
I'm not even like halfway in there. What do I start to hear play? Garfunkel and Oates. They were the first band on. Oh, and I missed them, Carmen. But for that, you don't know how things are actually going to work out until you actually get there.
Right.
Until you actually do it. And the next year they didn't do it. They actually did it at like the Civic Center or something because they realized that getting all these people onto the pier was probably not a good idea.
Right.
Because at the end of it, Lonely Island was big at the time, and they were like the second to last. They were right before Tenacious D, and Adam Sandler was on there. Oh, he was hilarious. It's so good. A lot of people think the Adam Sandler movies, but then you don't like remember like all the songs he used to play and how silly he was. Oh man. But having all those people on the pier, and like there were like people like smoking and stuff. The pier's wood, it's not gonna catch on fire, but
Yeah, it's still kind of
right. So you don't know what's gonna happen at those festivals and stuff until you're there doing
Well, I
it.
feel like when you have that many people, and like it's very difficult to control 60, 70,000 people. And first off, what's the limit? What's the fire code? Why are all these people allowed to be? I mean, it's outside, so I understand that it's this plot of land where they just fit all these people in. But like it was reports of people doing interviews after the concert, and this one guy said that literally if you jumped up in the air, you would get stuck just because of how tight it was from the people. So people were literally just suffocating because they were getting smashed by the crowd that was pushing from behind. And it's like, I don't know, man. I would have had to get out of there. Once I would have seen it, so I'm really like, as soon as I see a little bit of trouble, oh, okay, we gotta get out of here. I can't be around that stuff. There's no way I would have been part of that. First off, I don't ever want to be around that many people, and nobody was wearing masks.
Right.
So I never want to, like, ever we just forgot about COVID. Guarantee you that many people, every single person wasn't vaccinated.
There's no way they could be.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just an interesting one. Them festivals are huge, so I just can't see myself ever wanting to go to a festival that large. And people be so into it.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
That's
You
too
get to
much.
go there. You get to see like maybe multiple people that you wanted to see. That's all right there.
Yeah, but it's not the people performing. That's the good part about it. It's the other scoundrels around you that's drinking, doing all this fucking shit.
Right.
Like they said, it was reports from Astro World where a security guard got pricked in the neck by fentanyl. They had to administer Narcan to revive him. Somebody stuck him in the neck with a needle.
Right.
Like that's what you have to worry about. When it's that many people, there's a lot of bad people in this world. And if you're around 50,000, a lot of them are bad. Right. So it's just, I don't know, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. But they're dragging Travis Scott right now. He's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. What is he supposed to do?
I don't know.
If you got that Kardashian money, you better do something.
You think he's got Kardashian money?
Okay, so the youngest daughter is the first billionaire in the family. He with her. He got a kid by her. Y'all,
Which she does makeup, right?
She sells makeup, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like
that mom. That mom got her put on, man.
I feel like I was at the airport and she had a vending machine, a makeup vending machine there. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like her mom literally got with whatever company they were with, and then they start pushing it, and because of her fan base and a lot of younger kids like her, so they bought the stuff. Like sometimes kids will carry your products so
Of
far.
course. Yeah.
So.
Doesn't have to be good. Just gotta have somebody on it.
Yeah, I just want it because everyone else in school has it. The school thing is the big one that people follow those trends.
Right.
It's like, man, why did skinny jeans become a trend? Who decided that was a good idea?
I don't know.
I hate that.
You don't like skinny jeans?
I absolutely hate it. Why do you want the bottom of your legs to be tight? It's so weird. And at the place I work right now, the chef and the other chef there, they be wearing those skinny jeans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I know that's uncomfortable.
You don't think
I
they
can't
like the
work in
skinny
that.
jeans?
No, they seem to be fine with it,
Uh-huh.
but I can't work like that.
Can't like lift up your leg the way you're supposed to.
Nothing. You just can't move around right. Like
Right.
you got it. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, you had to jump up and down to get in them pants.
You think he had?
He absolutely. He had to
the
jump
one,
up
two?
and down and pull him over his ass. And I'm looking like,
Uh-huh.
how you feel comfortable as a man jumping up and down and getting your pants like that?
Right.
Because they skinny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Sometimes, what I hate about like pants that are just a little too tight for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a boxer brief man.
Mm-hmm.
But
Because
sometimes,
what else would you be?
well, you could wear briefs. Just like whitey tighties. You can wear
Ew.
You can wear boxers.
Ew, that's for little kids.
But if the pants are too tight around the thighs, you pull them up, and then they all get lifted with the pants. So then they're all like in places where they shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta kind of take your undies down and then lift up your pants and undies at the same time, so that way like everybody fits, so they don't get all scrunched up.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like about tight pants.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. Well, look what girls have to go through. You don't think your underwear roll up and all? You have to make sure. Even girls even more, because you can see your penny line in the pants.
Right.
So if they all bunched up, you look crazy.
The VPL, they call that.
The VPL?
Yeah, visible panty line.
Yeah, but imagine putting on your pants and they all scrunched up and people could see it. It's embarrassing.
Right.
Girls have a heart.
They do.
I know. It's a lot to deal with. So, yeah, that was a big story. And then what's the other popular story people talking about? Will Smith right now. He has a new book coming out.
I've had enough of Will Smith.
I think everyone has. And the crazy part is, it's not even him. It's his wife that's doing the majority of
You
it.
think
She didn't
Jada Pinkett?
She done created that Red Table Talk. And they go on there and they talk about situations that are uncomfortable for the average person to digest. It's like, why would you tell your personal business like that on there?
Right.
But the
The
reason
Red
she's
Table
gotten
Talk.
so big is because it's the Smith family table talk.
Right. So it's typically it's like Jada Pinkett's mother and Willow Smith.
Yeah.
Her daughter.
Yeah.
And they sit and talk about
I
things.
believe that on the show they got their vagina steamed.
Oh.
So the grandma, mom, and the daughter. Now, mind you, their daughter's only like 17.
Uh-huh.
She's still very young.
Right.
While all this stuff was going on, even like back in the day when Willow first came out with her single, she was 9. She's not that old. She's not old enough
What's
to be in
about her hair?
conversations.
What was it called?
With my hair. But it worked. And it was a big single for
Right.
her.
Yeah.
And she has another one on the radio right now, actually. It sounds really good.
Oh, yeah?
She can sing. She has a really good voice.
Why do you think Willow is, able to get the music out, and then you got the what's the other one?
Jaden.
Jaden. And don't you think that it's weird that
Because he's a good artist, too.
don't you think that it's weird that the boy's name is Jaden, and then the mother's name is Jada, and then Will Smith has a daughter named Willow Smith?
Yeah.
Don't you think that that's weird?
They did some real crazy stuff. The oldest boy named, the mom was like, we're not doing that.
Uh-huh.
His name is Trey or something. I
Right.
forgot.
Yeah,
But
nobody knows who he is. Right?
no, he's been in little parts and things, but yeah, nobody know who he is.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure he still live a lavish life.
Yeah.
But he's just not the popular one. Maybe he like it like that. Maybe he don't like the attention. Everybody don't like the attention of having people watching him all the time.
True.
So, but yeah, it's interesting you mentioned both of them. So Willow, she's a great singer, and she, I think she's going the mainstream route. What people want to hear, like the genre and the people that she's connected with. She's been able to get her music out there. She messed with EDM artists and things, so she get her music on bigger platforms versus just like the rap category. Where in Jaden Smith, he's a rapper. He's very, very good at rapping, but he never stops. I don't know if he like when he do songs. He just rap for 20 minutes. It's like, hey, you have to put the part where people can catch on to it. The hook is no hook. He just rapped the whole time.
Right.
So I think he has all this stuff.
Writing a story or what?
Is the whole story. That's what his songs sound like. It's impressive that he can rap freestyle like that for so long, but it's like somebody got to help him.
Right.
Because he's trying to do music his own way, but that is not what people enjoy listening to. You got to like maybe a few hardcore fans.
Right.
But it's not getting on the radio because You're not getting a 10-minute slot on the radio.
We can't. What we're gonna after this commercial break, we'll listen to Jaden Smith, and then another commercial break.
Yeah, so they can't. You know what I mean? That's the reason why his music, because he kind of has his own way of doing it, and if he can't do it his way, he doesn't want to fold for like the.
Right.
So okay, well then you can't do music. Keep selling your waters.
Well, you know, there's this documentary. It's you can watch it on Netflix right now, but it's about the band Sparks. It's called the Sparks Brothers,
Yeah.
and it's this band that they've been around for a long, long time. You know, and they have like 20 different albums. You know,
The Sparks Brothers.
yeah,
I believe
the band's called Sparks.
Sparks.
Right.
But they're brothers.
Well, they are brothers,
I mean, the name
their
sound like
name is-
something I might have heard.
but their name is Male.
Huh?
Their name is Male.
Oh, okay.
That's their last name is Male. Their last name isn't Sparks,
Okay.
right?
But the name of the group is the Sparks.
No, it's just Sparks.
Okay. Well, you could put
Anyway,
you could
so
put
they
that
got
on
like
that.
20 albums, and then like none of them are really were huge hits, but they just keep coming out with new stuff, just again and again. There's
I mean, you know 'em.
there's a movie on Amazon right now that just came out called Annette, I believe it is, and they did like all the music for it, you know, like, and just neat stuff, cool stuff.
Yeah.
With them, but they're a group of people that they just make their stuff and then they throw it out there.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's gonna buy it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
If you live simply, you don't need to make all your money. What was it?
And if you own your stuff, you're in a better position than people who sign the labels and end up with nothing.
Yeah, yeah. There was a guy in the '90s. I think his song was "Lullaby." It was either "Lullaby" or "Closing Time." I can't remember which one. It's one of those two songs.
It ain't the regular closing time, is it?
What?
It ain't the regular closing time, is it?
Yeah, the regular one.
It's called closing time.
Yeah, but then there was another one called Lullaby, and that might be the guy that I'm thinking of. I can't remember which one. But he was selling, tapes and CDs out of his car, and then he signed with an album, and then he had his one hit, and then he didn't make any more money. So then he had to start selling stuff, and he's like, I'm making more money than I made with the record label anyway. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the music industry is it's big business, and it's a lot of dirty, shady stuff involved in it. So you have to be smart and educated. You have to figure out how to get the information so you don't get screwed over on it.
Right.
Because if you don't know that stuff, if you don't have nobody to show you, hey, this is this, this is this, it's sharks ready to take advantage of you because they know you don't know, and they know what little corners they can get you on.
Right.
And so that's the disappointing part.
We were watching the what was the
Lou Pearlman documentary.
Lou Pearlman. He was the producer for the Backstreet Boys.
A lot of boy bands.
And NSYNC, and just how he was like treating the boys like they were like his friends, and they were like
they
taking
were
them
his kids and
out.
stuff.
And then they'd like take him out to dinner, and basically he pulled these two groups out of like casting sessions and just like, threw them together. And
like One Direction, and Simon Cowell did One Direction, and a couple other groups like that.
Right. And he would take them out to dinner, and then they took them out to, they're like, okay, you're gonna get paid. They did like a bunch of tours and stuff, and they're like, oh,
and
we
then
got
they
the money
had
for you.
they had a meeting, and they're like, it's payday. You're gonna get paid
And then they each got paid like $10,000.
$10,000 after they were touring
Like they were huge. They were like the number one band in the nation
everywhere.
And they're like, this is all.
And
we
they
get?
toured for 2 years straight before they even got this.
Right. And then what? Lou Pearlman, he said that he was like the sixth member of the Backstreet Boys.
He made himself
made
on
himself.
contract the
Right.
sixth member of the Backstreet Boys.
Right.
So he also got a percentage of the
He was
money
also
that they
getting-
were.
He also got $10,000 too.
Right.
But also all the money was funneled through him, and then because he was paying for, their stage time, he was paying for all of their equipment, all of that. So all that stuff went through him first. He took what he wanted, and then he got a percentage of whatever they got.
Because he, on paper, made himself the sixth member of the group.
Right.
Who does that?
And then
That is straight
They show
dirty.
They show them in the court, and then this guy's like, my daughter has a Backstreet Boys poster in her room, and you're not on it. You're telling me that you're the Backstreet Boys? And he's like, yeah. It's like, this like 50-year-old man. He's like,
it's just dirty business. That's all it was. And what did the guy say? It's I forget his name. He's one of the, not the most popular, but he was in NSYNC, I believe, and he was one of the. He's the gay guy who hangs out with the Kardashians all the time. Lance Bass. I love Lance Bass. He's one of my favorite out of the two groups. Obviously Justin, but then
Ramen Noodle Head.
Justin, but then Lance Bass after that, and he said on there, like his mom was like, and they ripped the contract. They ripped the check up. They didn't spend the $10,000 because they were like, this is not right. We need to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
And once they hired lawyers to look over the contract, he said, this is the worst contract I've ever seen in my history of reading contracts.
It was like a relative of theirs that they had him. They're like, hey, come check this out. And he was like, well, why did you sign this? But
because they didn't know no better.
You're getting, first of all, you're like, okay, my kid, he's going to be in this group or something, and he just did all these auditions, and
for the kid, I don't gotta go to school regularly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's even that part. Not even having to go to school. That might be worth just getting into the group.
Right. And they're already paying for our housing. And the Lou Pearlman, he said to the mom, he was like, you're not gonna have to work ever again. What did he say? He was like,
yeah, you let him come with me, you'll never have to work. Like he was already prepping her
because she was a teacher.
He's
like, you're not gonna have to go to school ever again.
Or you're not gonna have to. Yeah, you're not gonna have to ever do that again. But she had to because he still played him on the money.
Right.
So like she's still probably working.
It's crazy.
It is. It's definitely. The music business is dirty. You just have to. You have to have your stuff together. I mean, it's very rare for like somebody to get the status like a Justin Bieber, a Taylor Swift, a Lil Nas X. He's another one that's coming up with that machine funnel behind him where they are pushing him to be like this global superstar. But like that's hard to do sometimes, especially back then. Now it's a little more people can find out if they getting played or not a little easier than they could back then.
Yeah.
Especially when you gotta wait on a computer to load up forever. It's like you'll never find out you're getting screwed over. Like by the time Windows load, it's like, oh my God, it's take 30 minutes. Like you don't even want to use the computer no more after that.
Right.
Can you imagine that, how it was then to how it is now as far as computer?
Well, people didn't look at things on the internet like they do now.
I know.
There wasn't that many resources on there.
That's
to
true.
Look it up.
That's very true. Very true. So I am going. I'm not going to talk about the trip until I get back. We'll talk about it on the next podcast. But I'm headed off to Salem today. And I'm a little bit, I don't know. I'm not into the witchy stuff. We got to go see witch stuff.
You got to see witch stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
And then the teacher is like, well, we could, you guys could wear witch costumes and stuff. I'm like, girl, I'm not playing dress up with y'all. Dress up like this too much.
You could get a nice hat, a nose.
No, it's funny because when we went to the cemetery, for a field trip from our dark tourism class.
Right.
For anybody listening who doesn't know what it is tourism that happens around tragedy. So where
that's dark tourism.
Dark tourism, right. So it could be in like the Holocaust camps where people like to go see them and like things like that. That's all dark tourism.
Right.
And so we went to the cemetery for a field trip. And the guy at the cemetery, he's like, you guys want to wear black cloaks? It's like, no, I don't even want to be here. You're too into
got like
this.
20 black cloaks in my trunk.
Yeah, he's like, we have a bunch of them. Do you guys want to put one on? And everyone's like, no. Like, dude, you're too excited about this cemetery tour. I'm like, people are dead here.
Right.
We're stepping on people.
Right.
And he's like, oh, like he's just making it a whole fun field trip. I know, but boy, like, I don't know. He just knew too much. It's like, I don't understand how people get into that business.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for me.
Well, you can. You're learning about it. You'll figure it out.
I'm not getting into that though.
I know, but you'll by the end of the class, you should have a little understanding of why they do it, right? You think they're just.
Yeah, I did my project. I did my project on Six Flags. I created a dark tourism experience out of that. A challenge where people can kind of go around and find stuff, and then at the end they can win a prize. The first person to get all the clues win a prize. That's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting.
Right.
So
That's cool.
yeah, and I just now I have to read this in front of the whole class tonight, and I'm very nervous about it because I don't like public speaking. I'm actually getting nervous thinking about it right now. So the only solution that I have is that I go first.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I sit in that classroom and multiple people go before me, I'm going to get more anxious and worked up, and then I'm going to say I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens every time. If I don't go first, I'm going to sit there and stew on it the entire time other people are going. And I'm going to be so freaked out that I almost pass out. And I'm going to be like, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my flyer. I'm not doing the project because I'm too freaked out. I hate public speaking.
Okay.
It's the number one fear in the world, you know?
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. People don't like public speaking.
Yeah. It can be.
Would you be
nerve-wracking.
comfortable with that?
I've done public speaking before.
I know, but are you comfortable with standing in front of a crowd in the front of the room where everybody's looking at you at the same
No.
time?
Never.
I hate
Never
it.
have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's the number one fear.
Right. I don't say that I'm fearful of it.
But
I'm
it's
not, I'm not
it's
fearful
uncomfortable.
of it, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm scared, Kurt.
Right.
I get so scared. I told you the last time I did I had to do a project in front of the class with an English class, and I was I was about to faint, and you could tell my voice was cracking. I was so nervous, and when I
Yeah,
finished,
but you always think that it's worse than what it actually is.
yeah, but I psyched myself out in my head.
And no, what I mean is like people might not have heard your voice cracking.
But I hear it.
Yeah, you hear
and then mentally it freaks me out, and
Right.
then it just goes downhill.
But people,
and then
a
I
lot of the
start
time-
shaking up.
A lot of the time, people don't really see that stuff.
I know it's my own personal
Yeah.
issue. But when I finished, the teacher said, "Girl, you made it through it. I'll give you a grade because you made it. I didn't think you was gonna make it through that." And I was so embarrassed. She said it in front of everybody, like, "Well, you made it through it." Meanwhile, this 15-year-old Chinese kid, he did his perfectly and got an A+.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I think that's it.
All right.
All right. Well, we had to cut it short today because we got a lot going on. But thank you guys for listening to another episode of Sweet Gravy. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please go to sweetgravypod@gmail.com. You can also check us out on YouTube and every other streaming platform.
Awesome. Thank you.